What's good, everybody? How y'all doing today? Happy Monday, happy Monday, happy Monday. Well, look at here. Look at here. Let's go and get down to the business before I even get into that. Welcome to Morning Motivation, your daily dose of inspiration and empowerment. I'm your host, Jamar, and I'm thrilled to have you join us today. So whether you're here for positivity, to connect with like-minded individuals, or simply to start your day off on the right foot, you've come to the right place. So grab your coffee, and if you want to buy your boy some coffee, the link is in the chat. Hit that like button on your way in. Let us know you're here. Don't be afraid to comment. Let us know your thoughts. If you think I'm way off the mark, let a brother know, because I am not infallible. Matter of fact, I'm fallible most of the time. Shout out to me, because we're all in our process. Hopefully we all on our purpose, standing on our square, doing the things that we know are right, chasing our dreams, building foundations, not just for us, but our offspring, our legacy. So special shout out this morning to my guy D-Rob. Y'all know D-Rob. D-Rob been going back and forth over some decisions. He took action, and now he's looking at making some things official. So if y'all in the chat, y'all already know. But salute, my brother. I'm proud of you, man. Progress is progress, no matter what form it takes. Standing still and drifting, because you don't stand still. You're either going forward or you're going backwards. And so you are going forward, so I salute you this morning. Shout out to that chick, yo, Toronto Riggins. What up, boo? What the dilly? Hope y'all had a really good weekend, man. My weekend was all over the place. Probably why I got a crazy headache this morning. Crazy headache. But I didn't sleep well last night because some things happened yesterday, some things happened on Saturday, and you know, it's life. Life be life, and we already know that. And all the time, God is good. First of all, giving honor to my Lord and Savior Jesus Christ, who's the head of my life. Amen, church. Y'all know D-Rob in testimony service right now. But that's what we do, man. I often say to myself, when I'm going through difficult days or difficult times, that it's the tough times that make the good times so much sweeter. It's the tough times that prepare us to walk into the good when the opportunity appears. It's the tough times that give us the strength that we need to endure, to weather storms, so that when we get into the sweet place, when those storms come, they don't even bother us as much. There's still storms, they still happen, but it's the stress, it's the strain that makes us better. And speaking of stress and strain, that's what we're talking about this week. We're talking about, what do you do with pain? For those of you who didn't join us or wasn't here to witness the whole anthology of a Sour Patch Kid, namely yours truly, Sour Patch Kids, go back and watch that episode. what was Friday's date? May 17th, I think. Go back and check out that episode. I think it's called Sour Patch Kids Are More Than Just a Delicious Candy. So if you get a chance, go check that out. Matter of fact, go check it out. It was a real good show. And going into this week, I told you guys that we were going to do some breakdowns. And I probably should have said more like case studies, because that's what we're really going to do this week. And we're going to take 3 fictional characters and we're going to break down their life. We're going to break down their story arc, their character arc. And we're going to see how we saw them in the beginning versus how we saw them in the end. Because we all have our favorite villains. We have people that we just can't stand for no good reason. Put a 1 in the chat if you've ever watched a show and there was a person in that show that you disliked their character so much. When you saw them, the next time you saw them as something else, you turned your nose up a little bit. Even though they were acting, they played that role so well that when you actually saw them in something else, you were like, I don't think I like him. I don't think I like her. You know, it's women all over the world that still don't like Danny Glover because of the Mr. character he played in The Color Purple. Now I'm curious. I see ones popping in. I'm curious if you can. I know some of y'all out there driving. Shout out to my guy Craig G. I know y'all out there driving. So if you can't, don't worry about it. But if you can, give me a character. Oh, Bobby said Danny Glover, Color Purple. Yep, still can't stand Danny Glover, even though he was acting. Even though he was acting. You know he's acting. Mama P said something to me one day. She said, "Who was that? Who was that? That chick? She'll sleep with anybody on street. She'll just sleep with anybody. She's a strumpet." And I was like, I said, "Mama, who you gotta, in this day and age, you gotta be a little bit more detailed with your comments about who will sleep with who." Because, I mean, you know, people just giving it away these days. You know, it's easy come, easy go. Her generation, you know, wasn't as openly loose. There was some loose women back in that day. Not as openly loose. There was some 3 or 4-ish men out there that wasn't as open. But we always knew Papa was a Rolling Stone. We knew it. We knew it. I guess it was. But it wasn't, not polite to talk. Ladies wasn't that out front with it. Oh, man, yeah, the guy in there from My Black Woman. And she had to add the jab. The one that was sucking and blowing bubbles in the tub. The man was paralyzed. Come on now. Yeah, but he was definitely a villain in that movie. He was definitely a villain. He was the man. He was the man. He treated her like straight yesterday's trash. And she got her revenge at the end. Look at you. Blowing bubbles and stuff. That was a funny scene, though. I can't lie. That was a funny scene. But we all have those people. I'm trying to exclusively stick to the movies because bitterness, trauma, and just overall being a Sour Patch Kid. Are we freezing up? My conditions are excellent right now. You might be on a delay. I did see it in a little bit of a little something earlier, but hopefully I'll keep an eye on it. Thanks for the heads up. I'll keep an eye on it and make sure we're not freezing up. But yeah, so it can be triggering when you really think about it, because sometimes we get into situations where we've been in a place so long that we don't know how to come out of it. We've been stuck in a pattern of behavior. We've been stuck in a mindset that makes it tough to know up from down. And then here comes somebody calling you bitter. That never makes it better. So I can't even watch BMW without thinking about the scene in Diary of a Mad Black Woman. Are you thinking about BMF? Can't watch BMW. What's that? What's BMW? I know you don't mean the car. I can't think of what initials are you referring to. Anywho, I know you would drop it in there. So yeah, so sometimes then somebody comes along and they want to call you bitter or angry. Yeah, BMF. Yeah, got you. and that it just adds the insult to the injury. And like we discussed, when you become a Sour Patch Kid, you didn't start out sour. You were just a sweet kid. You was a kid with hopes and dreams. You set out thinking the world will be your oyster, in many cases. But in a lot of cases, it was a lot of trauma. It was a lot of insecurities. It was a lot of instability. And so life maybe didn't start sweet for that person. Maybe they were bullied and teased and picked on their whole adolescence. Maybe they were rejected by a mother or a father, or resented by siblings, cousins, ostracized. That's the beginning of a sour life. And I would argue that all of us are Sour Patch Kids to some extent. Because all of us have a little bit of sweet, all of us have a little bit of sour. So how do you keep the sour from taking over and it becoming a bitter thing? We also talked about pain. What do you do with pain? If you were in an accident and you broke a leg, or you were impaled through a part of your body and it wasn't fatal, but the pain was excruciating, and you would go to the emergency room and they would say you have acute pain, meaning that pain needs to be treated right now. That injury, that wound need to be addressed right now. Acute pain makes a lot of noise, and so it is addressed very quickly. You see, it's the chronic pain. Did y'all know that most of your disabled veterans, I wouldn't even say disabled veterans. Let me go another way. That older person in your community that was always grumpy and always had resting bee face, whether they was happy or sad, is people, as we get older, we start developing something called chronic pain. And chronic pain is that long-term pain, the one the ache that never quite goes away, that condition that you constantly taking medication for, and you can feel better, but it doesn't really get better. It's something that you have to deal with forever. That's what you call chronic pain. And so I want to mix a cocktail for you real quick before we go into today's breakdown. Bitterness stems from some unmet expectation, feelings of injustice. Also, there could be, something that, some kind of regret, or, some unsettled feeling. And what it will tend to do is, the first thing is, it'll make you start isolating yourself from other people. Some disappointment, some embarrassment. Isolationism is kind of the first thing that generally starts to happen. Not wanting to hang out as much, not wanting to get around other people as much. You just kind of stand off to yourself with the family and the friends that you're most comfortable with. It also builds up your stress levels. Every time you think about that person, that thing, every time you want to come out of your shell and I'm gonna get back on the horse and I'm gonna ride off to the sunset as a success, but then the anxiety comes in, stress hormones go up, and it does a crazy thing. It causes inflammation sometimes. And then you combat that with a bad diet because now you stress eating. I'm talking to myself right now. Because now you stress eating. Now you eating pans of honey bun cake, every cookie you can find. You ain't met a bad French fry yet. And you combining that with all the inflammation and the stress and the cortisol, everything going on in your body. And you know what that does? It weakens your immune system. And now the mucus that's in your system, I'm painting a picture, y'all follow me. This is a nice little cocktail that's happening. And the mucus that's already in your system from eating the just dairy products alone. If you do a lot of cheese and milk, there's a lot of dairy that's in your system and it's causing a lot of mucus. And guess what lives in mucus? Disease. Disease thrives in areas that are full of mucus. This is kind of one of the reasons why, and this show today is not medical advice. It's not legal advice. It's not even psychiatric advice. These are just observations that I've made through the years. I'm not diagnosing. I'm not saying this happened and which made this happen to you, because sometimes when somebody touches a subject that has personally impacted you, it feels like they're victim blaming. And that's not what I want to come across today. I'm talking about some of the signs of bitterness and the long-term impacts that it make on your physical health and your mental health. And so I want to really dig into this before we get into our characters, because it's easy to look at somebody's story and dislike them. How many times have we been misjudged and people didn't know us first, but then once they got to know us, they was like, "Oh man, you cool. I thought it was something else." Put a 1 in the chat if you've been in that space. Put a 2 in the chat if you've prejudged somebody and then gotten to know them and it was like, "Oh man, I was totally wrong." Put a 1 if you was misjudged. Put a 2 if you've misjudged. Because I don't want this show, this particular episode, to be triggering. I want it to be fun, but I also wanted to have a bigger impact on those of us who are sitting on the cusp of falling into bitterness, because it happens very fast. You don't see it coming. I promise you. You do not see it coming. I promise you don't. But if you knew the signs and you could correlate the signs with what you're actively doing, you'll be able to stave it off. Now, we all get bitter from time to time. And that's okay. It's part of our human nature. But the deal is, don't stay there. Because this cocktail that we're building right now we're talking about that mucus and how disease set up factory in the mucus. This is why some people have, just out of the blue, autoimmune diseases. Just out of the blue, certain forms of cancer, rare forms of cancer. No family history, nobody that you've ever known has ever had it, but now all of a sudden something happened and you have it. Something is causing it. There's no way to determine what did it, but there's a common denominator Okay, I see the ones, I see the twos. I have my point five moments. Hey, yeah, we all do. And it's okay. I'm not saying that it's not okay. What I'm saying is, so many times we bring stuff upon ourselves that don't need to be. We're complicating our life because we stay in a place too long. How many of you been in a bad relationship and you stayed a little bit too long? And everything in you was telling you to abort, to get off the train, to flee, run. But there was something that just kept holding you. Sometimes it's pride. Sometimes it's ego. Sometimes it's I gotta prove something to somebody else. I can't be wrong. I don't want to be wrong. How are people going to look at me? And so now your body is sick. Your mind was already in a sickened state. And what else is there left to do but bleed all over everybody around you? Toronto Riggins says, blinded by young love. Oh man, sound like somebody had that whip appeal. That's all I'm gonna say on that one though. What up, positive self-talk? I see Craig G's in the building. So yeah, chronic pain tend to lead to sleep challenges. So you got this pain, you're not sleeping well, you're not eating well, you're stressed, your body's creating all this inflammation, mucus is forming, your body is now a hotbed for disease. And at some point, you're gonna start leaking, you're gonna start bleeding. And now you're gonna be spewing all of this stuff onto other people, people around you, your children, your spouse, your close friends. And then you're gonna feel bad and you're gonna do one or two things. Either you're gonna double down on it or you're gonna walk around with a lot of regret, a lot more bad feelings. And it's just a cycle that's not healthy. That's not healthy. And so at the conclusion of these next 2 days, we're gonna talk about some characters. We'll probably talk about two characters tomorrow, but today we're just gonna cover one because I really wanted to take some time to really break down what happens when we have unmet expectations, or we feel like we've been injured or unjustly treated, or we have regrets. What it leads to. And I didn't even mention the self-medications. Then you start making real bad choices because you're not really in your right mind. Or maybe you're too much in your right mind and you letting too much fly. And so it's a bad night at a bar. You done mixed everything up there. White, dark, all the bourbons, the whiskeys, the tequilas. You done mixed everything together. And now there's some forming in your stomach. And y'all know what happens when you get a little too much sauce in you, right? It's gonna come out, you're gonna sweat it out, you're gonna blow it out, but it's gonna be a process, right? Gonna be a process. So who are we talking about today? Today, I probably should have grabbed this guy's picture. But I did not. Like I said, it's been a little bit of a up and down weekend. And so I really wasn't super focused and I was extremely busy. I had one of these grandbabies. So put a one in the chat if you are a Harry Potter fan. If you've watched any of the 7, 8 movies that are associated with that franchise. Give me a one if you are familiar with the Harry Potter series. I want to get a baseline to know how deep I need to go into this character, because we only have roughly 30 minutes or so to really break it down. Excellent. Connection. All right, we're still looking good. Stream looks good. So it doesn't appear that anybody here has watched any of the Harry Potters. So that means I need to go a little bit deeper. Oh no, there's the one. I keep forgetting there's a little bit of a delay. Okay. So in the series, the books, Harry Potter, the movies, Harry Potter is a young, I guess, wizard. He's learning how to be a wizard. Both his parents, his dad was I guess you call the men warlocks and the women witches. And as a child, his parents were killed right in front of him. And in the process of them being killed, he received a mark. And he survived. He didn't die with his parents. And his fame grew because the person that killed his parents was supposed to be one of the greatest wizards that, the world had ever seen. And he was evil. And when he wanted to send you off the planet, he did. And so he went to the Potter's house and he killed his mother and his father. But when he went to kill Harry, something happened. And he ended up somehow not completely destroying himself, but he injured himself in a way that it was so hard to recover. So now this infant has a reputation of being the one person that was able to stand up to, and even though he didn't stand up to, he was got laying there cooing like a baby. But something in him is so special that the greatest wizard couldn't do anything with him. And so the story opens with Harry going off to a school called Hogwarts. And Hogwarts is a school where every magical person went to learn how to use their craft, how to perfect their craft, how to be young wizards and witches. And while he was at this school, there was this one character. He was Eeyore. He was bitter. He was grumpy. He was mean. Do y'all remember Professor Snape? Professor Snape from the Harry Potter series. Was that what was his real name? Can I think of his real name? Anyway, it's not, we talking about his character anyway, so it really don't even matter. And so Professor Snape had a few things going on with him. Let's see, can I find... Yeah, let me see if I can throw a picture up on the screen. Professor Severus Snape. That's his name. All right, so let me... I don't know, did he pass a while ago? I'm not seeing anything. Oh man, I think he did. Yeah, it looks like 2021. Huh. Did not know that. Yeah. So he was a very complex character because he was the leader of a house. There was how many houses? 3, 4 houses. He was over basically one of the dormitories, the Slytherin house. I think he was over, which was also the house that this evil wizard came from. But he was over, and I think their Their mascot was like a snake, right? Slithering snake. And he was a very knowledgeable teacher. He was a very helpful teacher, but you couldn't help but understand or recognize that he just did not like Harry Potter for some reason. All these other kids, he did not like Harry Potter. Did not like him. And when I first started watching the show, because I caught on to it late. But when I started watching, I'm just like, this guy got obvious resentment toward this kid that he's obviously never met. Why does he have these problems? Do y'all remember the character? He had resentment towards Harry. For what reason? Y'all remember why he had so much resentment toward Harry? Harry is 10. He's a 10-year-old kid. Snape is probably a 35-year-old man, maybe 40. But he had this resentment toward him. And it's like it was 8 movies. And through all 8 movies, some movies you would see him and he was, I'm watching you, got my eyes on you, Potter. He was just always in his business. Every time he turned around, he was there. He is full of sarcasm. He's an isolationist. Matter of fact, where my little note at? All right. Here go 5 signs of bitterness. 1, there's a negative outlook on life. Do you know somebody who has a negative outlook? Matter of fact, all 5 of these. And like I said, disclaimer, these are signs. These are not absolutes. These are things that will kind of let you know that this person may be struggling with something. Bobby said he was protecting him. Kind of, but yeah, it's complex. But yeah, that's definitely a part of it too. Negative outlook on life. Number 2, holding on to grudges. Anybody know any grudge holders? Put a 1 in the chat if you are a grudge holder. Put a 1 in the chat if you're a grudge holder. Number 3, frequent cynicism and sarcasm. Number 4, difficulty celebrating others' success. As I'm going down this list, I can see Snape doing all of this stuff. Definitely had a negative outlook on life. He didn't feel like he belonged to the in crowd. He doubted himself sometimes. He didn't think he belonged, so he isolated. He definitely holding grudge. You'll find out that in a little bit. Frequent cynicism and sarcasm, exactly. Difficulty celebrating others' success. It would just irk him beyond all compare. Whenever Harry won. Whenever he didn't get in trouble, it was somebody else. And number 5, socially withdrawn isolation. Yeah. So when you looking at people in life, think about those signs. What did B say? She said he was in love with Harry's mom and had a grudge against Harry's dad. Yes, there we go. See, now we're getting deeper. Both Harry's parents are long gone. They've been gone over almost a decade or more. But Snape, he's holding a grudge against Harry's dad. Because Harry's dad was one of the cool guys, and he was one of the cool guys in class. Snape wasn't. So I can imagine Snape might have been picked on a little bit. He might have been showed up. And now you compare what he loved this guy's girl. He loves her. And if you go into the series deeper, you find out that they were really good friends, Harry's mom and Professor Snape. He had a personal knowledge of who she was. He watched her grow. They were childhood best friends. He fell in love with her, and those feelings were not returned. And then she goes off with the guy who he dislikes most. And now Harry, they're the seed of his anger and shame. is there every day staring him in the face. And the one statement that everybody made to Harry, you have your mother's eyes. So every time he looked at Harry, he saw the woman that he could never be with. The woman who chose somebody else over him. Yo, Harry Potter. I didn't initially watch Harry Potter or read the book when it first came out because I was what you would call on fire in the church during that time. And it was wicked, it was evil, you shouldn't know. You shouldn't read anything concerning witchcraft. I mean, it was a lot of stuff that it's like, I don't know, so I'm not gonna watch. But then I started reading some of the book just out of curiosity one day. Then I watched the first show. I was like, this is good TV. This is good TV because I know it's make believe. So it was like, I don't know, whatever. I thought about it for a while, and I've made a lot of different choices since then. Anyway, but anyway, now where we're going. It's a really good series. It's very entertaining. It's a story of overcoming. It's a story of finding yourself. It's a story of friendship. It's also a story of loss because there is some loss in there. There's so many dynamics. It's a very well written book or books and movies. The movies are well acted, so they're very good. Lot of humor in them. It's good shows. It's not a bad way to spend a Saturday, for real. For real. And so Snape, he's now one of the leaders in this school that he struggles so much in. He's watching all these little kids coming in, his classmates' kids mostly, because everybody doing, in that space, we're not born with magic. So generally, if your parents were magical, then you would be as well. And so you would go to the same school that they all go to. And yeah, me and Boo watched it a lot. We watched it many late nights up watching Harry Potter just because we working, and so we have something on the TV, and we're working and watching. Yes, the audiobooks are definitely better. So you got a long car trip, might not be a bad thing to download. By far. So what I want to do is, and because I can't really show much, I'm not going to show any of the movie because they're copyrighted and I don't want YouTube slapping my hand again. But I'm trying to paint the picture of this character because he's one of those characters where he kind of stays in the shadows. So he doesn't take center stage. You just see him always looking. You see him always looking and observing. He's in everybody's business. He's a people watcher. He's very meticulous. He's very opinionated. And he dressed in black. Hair's black. He wears black robes and stuff all the time. He looked like a very dark character. He looked like he is an evil character. Harry never trusts him. Harry doesn't like him. And then there's a point in the story where you start to see the true evil wizard come back. And he's gathering all of his forces, all of his compadres. And they're creating a plan to kill Harry. Because you got to know, the evil wizard, he was embarrassed by a baby. Shout out to them boss babies out there. He was embarrassed by a baby. He lost his form. He lost his power. And he had to do some really dark things just to get his body back. And now his reputation is growing. I'm talking about Voldemort. Voldemort. They call him Lord Voldemort, the one who shall not be named. I mean, he was so scared, people wouldn't even say his name. And at the same time, Voldemort was there, Harry's dad was there, and Snape was there. All three dudes was there at the same time. They went to school at the same time. They grew up together. and neither one of them respected Snape. But because Snape was bitter on the inside, who do y'all think he aligned with? Put a 1 in the chat if you think he aligned with Harry. Put a 2 if you think he aligned with the evil wizard, Lord Voldemort. Yep, if you put a 2 in the chat, you will be right. He aligned with Lord Voldemort. And he started doing his bidding. Why? Because he was bitter. Because he had worked so hard in his life to be this, but he lost the girl. He lost the popularity contest. He didn't have the talent to hang in with some of those other guys. He was average, maybe just above average. So he grew resentful. So much so that he disliked the kid. I would say, what did Kendrick Lamar say to Drake? I hate the way that you smile, the way that you talk, the way that you walk, the way that you dress. But it was actually DMX that said it first. A couple years back, DMX said, you know what? I don't even like Drake. I don't like the way he walk. I don't like the way he talk, the way he smile. All right. I am running into an error. So what I am going to do is I am going to change something. I am going to keep the stream going, so stay on the stream, but I need to restart my my streaming software. But YouTube will be the same. So just give me 1 second and I'll be right back. I hope. All right, let's do this. All right, I'll be right back, y'all. All right, all right. I hope I'm back. Put a 1 in the chat if you guys can see me and I am back with you. All right, I look like I'm back. Hey, yo, I don't like this dude Drake, man. I don't like the way he talk. I don't like the way he walks. Cool. Yeah, I just got a so I better get that cartoon together. Yeah, I just had a error pop up in my streaming software that just sent me a very clutch message. I'm glad I saw it this time. Generally, I don't know why I didn't see it, but I saw it and I was able to make an adjustment on the fly. So, all right, now that that's done, let me just check one thing. Yeah, I don't know why though. I got plenty of space. I don't know. It gave me a low space warning. I don't know why, but anyway, I switched to another drive and I don't know, we'll see. But anyway, so Snape was in this place where he was just bitter. He had all this pent up resentment. And you ever just dislike somebody because they just wasn't good, they wasn't talented, but they just kept winning? They wasn't as talented as you, they wasn't as good as you, but they just kept winning. And you're trying to figure out I need their agent. Who do they know? What do they do? What circle of friends? What family connect do they have? Are they part of the Illuminati? Why does this person keep winning? There's a lot of untalented people who are very successful. Meanwhile, there are a lot of people who are super talented and they're struggling. They never quite find their way. They never quite find their path. And they have some levels of success, but they never make it big. They never go as far as they think they could go. Can anybody relate to that? I've had I've had those feelings as it relates to and and it's wild. I told y'all, um, I'm gonna throw up the name who shall not be named. No Diddy. I was during the '90s, man. I mean it was known how hard Diddy worked. He's like, this dude don't sleep. He has this crazy high standard. He is, I mean, he's everywhere doing everything. He's always in the studio. He's so serious. And so in my mind, my peer group were those guys. Diddy, Nas, Jay-Z, DMX. Now all of them are older than me. But in my mind, that's my peer group. I don't know them. Didn't go to school with them. We kind of close in age and we all like hip hop. That was the connection that I made that made us peers. But it was also the estimation that I had of myself. I am supposed to be at that level. They are supposed to be my peers. And a very interesting thing started happening to me. Real unrealistic, I know. I'm telling y'all my journey. I started looking at my life and I started kind of despising my life. I started discounting everything that I had done. I started to look at myself as not enough. And I started becoming cynical. I've always been sarcastic, so the sarcasm just, it just flowed. I've always been one who would kind of isolate anyway. So I'm already 2 of the 5 steps in to bitterness, or the 5 signs of bitterness. I'm already 2 in just naturally. I was already socially withdrawn. I already had the sarcasm piece. But the one thing I've never done is hold grudges. So that was a big one for me. The first thing was the negative outlook on life. I started developing that at some point as well. So 2 out of the 5 things I didn't struggle with. I don't care enough to hold a grudge. Never been a grudge holder. And I've never had a problem celebrating somebody else's success. I love other people's success because it pushes me to want to go do more. It pushes me to want to go have my own successes, my own outcomes. But just my natural life, the traumas that I've had in my life, gave me 3 categories or 3 signs in that bitterness example we talked about earlier. So I'm over halfway to bitterness. Over halfway to bitterness. Now I'm just talking about me. How many people do you know that had some traumas that made them withdraw a little bit? They may have had a few bad things happen in their life, and so now they got this negative outlook on what the future looks like. Now they're starting to develop a little sarcasm. Now when somebody wins, they get a little resentful. Why do good things always happen to him? Why do good things always happen to her? Nobody likes me. I'm worthless, right? Nobody sees my value. And then if that person is a grudge holder at the same time, it's a bad recipe. It's a bad recipe. So what happened with Snape? Snape goes and by the time you get to the 6th movie, he is on Lord Voldemort's squad. He's one of his top lieutenants, and he is causing havoc. He's doing all the bad things. All the bad things. He's gone up to the point he'll sabotage people or set people up. He even killed probably one of the most beloved characters in the book. He killed Dumbledore. Yeah, and so spoilers. I'm sorry, spoiler alert for those of you who didn't know. How can you come back from that? Now everybody really hates you. You thought they hated you before, but now they really don't fool with you. Now got nothing for you. Now people fear you. And you know, deep down, I don't think that's what he wanted. I don't think he ever wanted people to fear him. He just wanted to be respected. But he has obviously gone too far down this path. He's obviously done too much. He said too much. He's made bad alliances. And in the eighth book, the eighth movie, I've already written Snape off as a henchman. I had written him off as a henchman. But I found out was different about him. I found out he was not sour through and through. There was no sweet middle. It was just sourness, bitterness, resentment, hatred, envy. It was all those things that I thought. But come to find out, he never wanted to show any allegiance to Harry because it was known that he loved his mother. And so, yes, Bobby was right in the beginning. He wanted to protect him. He was actually playing a very long game. In my eyes, he became the hero of the Harry Potter series because he did the dirty work that nobody else could do. And he did it for one reason. He did it out of love. He loved this boy's mom so much that it didn't matter who she married. Their friendship was so strong that no matter what oath he took or what allegiance he took, it was always going to be with her. And I don't think he could have lived with himself had he caused harm to her child. And so Severus Snape is a villain in this Harry Potter series. If you haven't seen it, please do yourself a solid and go check it out. It is worth the look. But he is very much like so many of us. We go through life and we go through periods where nothing really works. Nothing goes our way. But can we play the long game? Can we find a cause that's worth going through the hard times? Can we find a cause that's worth sacrificing everything for? For some of us, it's our children. For some of us, it's a dream. For some of us, it's somebody who's done likewise for us. You see, life will have its ups and downs. You will go through your hard days. You will go through unbelievably depressing times, crucial times. You're going to be tested in all kinds of ways. But do not allow it to make you bitter. Do not drink that most dangerous cocktail. And sure, I get it. Sometimes we want to drink the pain away, we want to smoke it away, we want to sex it away. But guess what? The pain don't go nowhere when you do it that way. It doesn't go anywhere. You can walk around being resentful and bitter, hateful, but that doesn't get rid of the problem. It doesn't get rid of the situation that made you feel that way in the beginning. It's facing those things. It's taking a chance, taking a risk, doing something different. Because if you keep doing the things you've always done, you're going to continue to get what you've always gotten. It's very hard to solve a problem on the same level that you created it or that it was created. Sometimes you need reinforcements. You need additional help. You need a new perspective. You need a new circle, new friends, a new thought process. You need to get out of your own thinking, get out of isolation, get around people who are going to push you. Because the people that love you will push you. The ones who don't, oh, they like you just the way you are. Why? Because they get something out of it and they ain't got to work for it. So they're not going to try to make you do anything more than what you've already done. They'll sit there and listen and be like, yep, you right. You right. We sure should do something. But I ain't going to do nothing though. I'm going to wait on you. If you do something, I'll do something. Seeing your life from a future perspective. I think we talked about this a little bit on Friday too. Seeing your life from a future perspective keeps you from dwelling on the past. But if you're dwelling in the past and trying to make future decisions, you might as well go outside, hop in your car, and just look through the rearview mirror as you drive to the store. You will have about as much success. The past has already happened. You can't do anything about it. Snape can't go back and make Lily love him the way she loved James. I just call their names. Wow. He can't go back and make her love him. He can't go back and stop the bullying. He can't go back and stop their death because he's just not talented enough. He's not strong enough. But what he can do is he can protect her seed from afar. But right there. And he knew that there was going to be plots against that boy. So he says, I can't be seen too close to him, associating with him. If I'm going to protect him, I need to be on the side that's trying to hurt him so I can know what they're doing. And that gave his life purpose. And he did not mind in the end giving his life up for him to be free or to be safe. It gave his life meaning. As I think about my life and where I've come from and what I've done and where I want to go, I've like I said, I have 2 of them 5 just ingrained in me, just naturally ingrained in me. I think they're part of my personality. And because I know that, so I surround my people who not gonna let me sit in that isolation. I surround myself with people who are smarter than me, who know more than me, who have achieved more than me. Because I don't ever want to get comfortable. Because I will easily fall into isolation. I need to be always striving for something, doing something. And that's my journey. That's my battle. What's yours? What's yours? This is not for you to put it in the chat, but it's for you to think. Your journey, your battle. What do you know about yourself that could be the very means of pushing you into bitterness if one more thing happened? If another shoe drops, that's it. I'm going off the grid. What's that thing? That one more thing. If this one more thing happens, I'm packing it in. What is that thing? Think about it. Now think about how can I can I can I make that not part of my story anymore? How can I protect my heart, my feelings, my finances, my family? How can I be what they need, what it needs? How can I get around the people I need to get around to prevent this thing from happening? You see, talking about the future, you have to be very intentional, which is why you got to know what you want. Because there's too many distractors in life. There's too many detours. There's too many things that will knock you off course if you are not prepared. If you don't already know how to address your weaknesses. You don't know what your strengths are, so you can double down on those as well. That's why I'm so proud of D-Rob, man. It's like, I know what personal development is, and I know it's not the most sexy and appealing thing that, you want to talk about every day. Sometimes you want to just be ignorant. You just want to enjoy whatever you got going on right in this moment. I get that. And so I never expected people to come and stay long term. I expected it to be a revolving door of people coming and going, grabbing what they need and then, going and applying, grabbing what they need and then going over here and doing something else. But when I see D-Rob is obviously a talented brother. He's obviously very bright. He's obviously a stand-up dude. He obviously wants to live a good life. He wants a great family. He wants a great wife and eventually children. And he wants to be able to provide for them at a high level. But he also wants to chase a dream. He also wants to he wants to test himself. And he wants to make a difference and an impact. And he's doing it. He's doing it. He's doing it. And that's what this journey is about. So sometimes you got to leave home. Sometimes you got to go out in new territories, meet new people, so that when you do go back home, you come back home fully developed. You come back home fully developed. Now, unfortunately, Severus Snape did not have the happiest of endings, but he died on purpose. He died living a meaningful life, even if nobody saw the meaning until the very end. Because there's this thing that the magical people can do. They can take your tears. If you're dying, they could take your tears and then they could put them in this fountain and they can submerge themselves in it and they can see all the story in your tears. D-Rob said, betting on me. That's the name of the game, bruh. That's the name of the game, and I'm proud of you because it's hard to do. It's hard to do. Everybody can't do it. At least not simply. They got to get 1 million opinions and it take them 20 years. But as Toronto Riggins said, we got you. We got you. So I'm proud of when I see people trying to get to that next level because it's not easy. Being you is not easy. And I wish as people we saw ourselves the way other people saw us. We saw ourselves in how talented we are, how gifted we are, how well organized or put together or just the abilities that we have, I wish we appreciated them more. But because they're ours, we think it common. We think, oh, everybody can do that. This is not special, meaning I'm not special. I'm just like everybody else. No, you're not like everybody else. You are unique. And you have a unique thing to do. Because there's nobody going to do it like you. I don't care what it is. When you do it, because you are unique, it will be unique. Now, I can do a couple different voices, but it's not my voice. It's not my voice. And I find it strange sometimes that I could listen to myself. I do not like my own voice, but I love other voices. Why do I love other people's voices more than I love my own? Because somewhere in there, I didn't embrace my own uniqueness. I didn't embrace my own uniqueness. And I thought somebody else's was better than mine. Instead, now I focus on my voice because it's the only one I have. I can't go, steal somebody else's voice long term because it's not mine. And if I started doing and speaking like them, then I'm not me. Then what am I doing? So I started embracing my own voice. I even took a few singing like classes, voice lesson singing class kind of thing, because I wanted to improve the quality of my voice. I got a better microphone so my voice sounds richer and fuller. I stopped holding myself to an unrealistic standard. And I start truly embracing me. And so now, because I have found more value in me, now for me, that's what mine was. For you, it may be something totally different. But because I went and I did that work, because I started building confidence in my abilities, I'm able to present better now, more confidently. I'm able to be better. And if I make a mistake, my voice cracked a little bit, be all right. I'm not looking for perfection anymore. I'm just looking to be me. I'm an imperfect person. Why am I seeking perfection? I just need to be the best version of me. And so now I don't isolate as much as I used to. I'm not even as sarcastic as I used to be now. I'm going to get it twisted. I'll still drop some sarcasm on you. I'll ooze some sarcasm, but not as much. Not as much. I allow people to be who they are easier now than I used to once before. So, but anyway, we are way past time and I have a live show this morning. So, this show was a good show, I think. It didn't shape the way I envisioned it in my mind. Probably because I got a crazy headache and stressful weekend and I'm just getting it out. I didn't have a chance to really kind of go through it last night because I was a little tight. But anyway, I hope you got something from the show. I hope that one of the things that you pull from listening to today's show is that most of us are not far from falling into a bitter pattern. Most of us are not far. So understanding what some of those signs are, the detriment that long-term bitterness can have on our lives. Most importantly, it affects us, our health, mental health, our physical health is impacted by staying in places of these low vibrational places too long. And like we always say, We get to choose how we feel in this moment. We don't have to let somebody else's thoughts, opinions, or misunderstanding of us determine what our day is going to be. We can choose to have a great day no matter what. Shout out to Health Talk. No matter what. So, definitely gonna do it Wednesday. I kind of got some going, but I'm gonna try to squeeze it in on Wednesday. I'm definitely in. I got a lot of stuff happening Friday too. Friday's my son's Young Guns graduation, so it may not be a show Friday, but I might do something Thursday instead. But anyway, we'll cross that bridge when we get to it. But for now, let's definitely plan on Wednesday, and then I'll make whatever decision to go past that. So thank you so much for joining me this morning. And if you enjoyed today's episode, be sure to give it a thumbs up. Leave a comment, subscribe, share, all that goody YouTube-y kind of stuff. Until next time, have an amazing day and week. Keep striving for greatness. And if you don't know, ask your mama about me. Okay, my bad, y'all. All right, I see y'all on Wednesday. Shout out to my guy D-Rob one more time. Proud of you, bro. Keep up the good work. Keep pressing. I'm proud of all of you. Thank you for being here and your continued support. All right, with that being said, your boy, I am out. My headache is from here is down to here now, and it's slowly going away. So by the time I get down the highway, I should be in a good place. So you guys be blessed, and I will talk to you on Wednesday. Have a great day. Peace.